Right, good morning ladies and gentlemen, and welcome back to Thai Talk with Dan. Now this evening I thought I would share one of the craziest and horrific stories I've ever received on this channel. Now I did post this back in the day, but guess what? It got flagged by YouTube and got demonetized straight away, so they didn't push it out to the community. Some people might have heard it, but most people definitely haven't. So I've had to rewrite it and tame it right down. But I think you guys will get the gist. So without further delay, let's jump into this Pattaya landlord story. They say property is the safest bet that you can make. Well, they clearly haven't tried being a landlord in Pattaya. Today, I'm going to tell you a story in two parts. First, the absolute nightmare of renting to a tenant who turned my investment into a biohazard during the pandemic. And second, the sting operation I orchestrated 18 months later to ensure that karma found its way to the right doorstep. Back in 2015, I bought 3 condos off plan. Looking back, it was probably the worst financial move I've ever made. Renting in Pattaya isn't hard. Getting a quality human being into the unit is the impossible part. I have dealt with it all. Expats that act like toddlers, people getting their power cut off 17 times because they simply forgot to pay, and neighbours complaining about balcony activities that should have stayed behind closed curtains. I thought I'd seen the bottom of the barrel, but I was wrong. So let's fast forward to mid-2020. The world has stopped. Pattaya, usually the loudest city on earth, was silent. Borders were closed. My Russian and Japanese tenants had flew back home, leaving me with 2 empty units and a plummeting market. Prices that were 25,000 baht a month dropped to 7,000 baht. It was bleak. So, when a friend told me a Thai girl, we'll call her Ms. W, wanted the unit for 7k, I took it. I figured some income was better than a slap in the face. She moved in, and initially it was fine. So she paid her deposit, sent over her ID, and then, oddly enough, sent a bunch of unsolicited photos ranging from club shots to, well, let's just say, very liberal photos on the bed. Even for Pattaya, it was a bit of a strange introduction to a landlord-tenant relationship, but she paid the bills for a month. So by October, the ghosting began. No rent. Then came the classic excuses. My mother is sick. Not the proverbial buffalo is sick, but the mother. She reached out online and I realised the reality of the situation. Ms. W was a freelancer, and with the bars and clubs shut, her income was gone. So she moved her business online. OnlyFans, webcam shows. She even started hosting private clients in my apartment. I started receiving explicit videos and photos from her, not as a gift, but as a way to distract me from the unpaid rent. Now, I'm thousands of miles away in the UK. A nude photo doesn't pay the mortgage. I was worried about my furniture, specifically the sofa, given the nature of the content she was filming there. Then came the drug habit. The excuses got wilder. I even had a guy from Scotland emailing me, telling me I was a monster for wanting rent from his muse. I told him if he loved her work so much, he could pay her rent, and he went silent immediately. So by December, I'd had enough, but getting her out was a saga. I actually ended up in a surreal situation where some of the other expats in the building, guys who knew the situation, were essentially hiring her for short sessions, and she would send the money directly to me in 800 baht installments to cover the debt. Imagine my phone pinging with payment notifications every time she finished a client in my own unit. But it got darker. The guys stopped calling because they started catching souvenirs, serious health issues that Ms. W was passing around. When my friend finally checked into the unit, he found 9 people in there, spaced out on a pipe, surrounded by filth. When she finally vanished in February, after I cut the utilities, the state of the room was soul-crushing. Half-eaten food, piles of trash, and a collection of prescription meds for every old-school ailment you can find in a medical textbook. The mattress, I don't even want to describe it. It looked like a crime scene. I lost months of rent and spent a fortune on a deep clean that probably required a hazmat suit. 18 months later, I'm back in Pattaya. I haven't forgotten. I see Ms. W is still online, still pulling the same stunts. I didn't want her money. I wanted her to feel the same level of frustration and cost that she put me through. So I launched a 3-phase educational program. Phase 1, the ghost trip. Using a burner SIM and a VPN, I posed as a client. I made her take a 40-minute taxi to a remote area near the country club at 10 p.m. on a Friday. I made her prepare with specific equipment and wait in the dark. I ghosted her. She lost her Friday night earnings and the taxi fare. Phase 2, the Bangkok banquet. This was personal. I posed as a high roller in Bangkok. I paid for her car to the city and took her to a massive seafood feast. Lobster, wine, the works. I let her do all the ordering, and halfway through I took a fake business call, walked out and hopped in a Bolt back to a friend's place. She was left with a bill that was likely more than she made in a week. Phase 3, the final lesson. So I had a friend help me with a specific booking. He filmed everything to ensure it was all consensual and documented. After a very thorough session involving a lot of humiliation, all of which she agreed to for a high price, he left her safely restrained to a bathroom rail as part of the scene. He paid her, left the money on the bed and walked out. She was left in a very embarrassing, very messy state for the hotel staff to find. Was it pretty? Maybe. But in a place like Pattaya, people think they can disappear into the neon and never face the music. I spent about 10,000 baht on this revenge project, and honestly, it was the best money I ever spent. The lesson here is simple. Respect people's property. Don't lie to those trying to help you, and never ever assume your landlord doesn't have a long memory. Thanks for listening. Right guys, what did you make of that story? Very, very crazy. You can imagine what goes on within a place like Pattaya, and I wouldn't like to rent out a condo there for obvious reasons. And imagine what it would be like in Phuket near Bangla Road. It would be absolutely horrific, and a lot of damage would get done to your property. Now, I know a lot of guys that want to invest in condos in tourist places because they think, hey, I'll get rent all the time. Those places are always busy. I can charge a high fee on the rent and it will always be occupied. But obviously, your place can get absolutely trashed. And this guy got the freelancer from hell, but she also got the landlord from hell too. Let us know down in the comments if you enjoyed this story. Now, what I can also do, if you let us know in the comments, I can actually post the original version on Spotify so you can listen to what really happened. Apart from that, if you would like to share your own Thailand story on the channel, get your emails sent in to thaitalkwithdan@gmail.com and we'll share them on the channel. Thanks for watching. Ciao for now and bye bye.